and I run Pollard Consults. I'm also the host of a community. We call it the Business Transformation Hub. I also call it the Business Transformation Headquarters because that is my vision. And basically what we do is to provide training. We do consulting, but right now our focus is training, equipping people with the skills, the knowledge they need to be able to start and grow in careers in business analysis, project management, organizational change management, product management. That is our scope for now. We also do consulting, and you would learn how that consulting fits into the training we do. So I have over 14 years experience personally working in business transformation, and I leverage those skills to provide consulting services to small and medium-sized businesses. I also have a network of colleagues. We also collaborate to deliver on projects. And we do stuff from business technology diagnosis to vendor and solution selection. We also do process improvement and implementation, business cases, technology implementation. Basically, we not only help you identify the best technology that would automate or drive your business, we help you deploy it, train your staff to be able to use it. But right now, the focus for me, or rather my audience here, you are individuals, basically it's more of training. And the reason I combine my consulting business with training is because from time to time, I identify top performing students and provide them with the opportunity to do internship on those consulting projects. In fact, we just finished one in our last training where we helped a vendor to select a learning management system, and the trainees went through the steps and the process, and they did the final presentation to the client that helped her decide the solution she wanted to use to solve her business problem. Through our training business, both for individuals and corporate clients, we equip everyday non-tech professionals with the mindset, the right mindsets, knowledge, skills, and experiences they need to start a career in tech or any business transformation career. It may be outside of technology, it doesn't have to be in a tech firm. And our mission as an organization is to equip our learners with the principles, the practices, the skills, the tools, the experiences, and of course, the mindset they require to start and grow in their career. We have lots of training out there. We have lots of training on Udemy, on YouTube, on LinkedIn Learning, and of course, there are other training providers. There are institutions that provide training. However, is this training hands-on? Is it hands-on enough to be able to equip learners with the skills they need to hit the ground running on the job? So that is the gap we have been trying to fill as an organization. Get experienced professionals that have been in the industry to come and train, not just the theory, not just the head knowledge, but the practical step-by-step, the how-to of how to execute those business analysis tasks, those project management tasks, and all of that. How do we do it? So over time, as a trainer interacting with lots of learners, I have sat down to identify shortfalls, the needs of students, and how to bridge that need. And we are deploying this in full force in our September training, which starts September 3rd. Our business analysis and project management. The first 2 weeks of those training are free for anyone that is interested. You might just want to come try it out, see if it's what works for you, if it meets your need, or you move on if it doesn't work for you. So what do we do? First of all, I call it the Pelt Framework. We first prepare your mindset, prepare you for what you are getting into. Most people just, they want 6-figure salary. I want to be a BA because their neighbor is a BA, because their neighbor is a PM. But most times they don't even know what they are getting into. So first we need to prepare your mind. Some people have different myths, different things they've heard online, they've heard from people that might have taken the wrong approach, and that is the mindset they are coming with. We need to debunk a lot of mindset, demystify some issues. So we spend some time doing some coaching, to prepare the mindset of our learners before we then move into the equip phase. And that is where most of the hard work gets done, all the heavy lifting happens here. So our training is designed such that we first start with equipping you with the principles, the knowledge, the practices you need for that, before we then go on to a capstone project where you then get to apply all what you have learned in the first phase of the training. Throughout the training, we get you to reflect, because from experience, learning, the best way to learn something new is to tie it to something you already know before. And most of us here, in one way or the other, we've done business transformation, we've redesigned processes, we've supported technology implementation in one way or the other, but we didn't know we're practicing business analysis or project management or people change management. So we get you to reflect every 15 minutes to the end of the class. Think of what you've learned. How can you tie this back to what you've done before in your past life? Why do we do this? This helps you to begin to build your resume. When you come to this class, we don't expect you to throw away all what you've known before. Most of my students have worked for between 10 to 15 years. We don't expect you to throw away all that wealth of knowledge. But what we are trying to do is to extract what is valuable in there, what is business analysis, what is project management, to then begin to build your new resume. I do not manufacture resumes for people in my training. So if you are coming with that mindset, this might not be the class for you. So we help you connect what you're learning to what you've done in your past, and then begin to build out your resume. I'm also bringing a professional. You'll meet her today. She's going to help you develop teach you how to develop your new personal brand, help you optimize your LinkedIn profile, teach you how to create elevator speech. She's going to help you face your fears, help you reset your mindset, design your dream careers. So we're not only equipping you with business analysis, there's the soft skills part we try to touch on a bit, and then we help you launch your career. So it's both a combination of preparing, we've prepared your resume, teaching how to network online, reach out to potential hiring managers, recruiters, sell yourself, because that is how you get it done. We'll help you to practice interview questions, how to negotiate your offers, guide you through all of that, what you should do your first few days when you resume your role. Now, the last part is a thrive. So for the better part of my training, most times, it's been the structured part of the training has been focused on equipping, revamping, and launching. Now we are bringing in the prepare part in full force, and then the thrive. Experience has shown that when people finish a 12 weeks or a 10 weeks training, they're like, am I sure I'm ready? So there's still that amount here for some people. People actually hit the ground running, and even the first 4 months, they've gotten their dreams already. So we're building a community where you can continue to learn and grow. For those that are not very quiet and they're not super sure of themselves, you can move into that community until you build that confidence. For those that have launched their career, even better, because 12 weeks is not enough for you to learn everything business analysis and project management. So we are building a community where we hope to bring guest speakers, give you more advanced level training that you can now consume because you are more comfortable with the foundational trainings. We're not only going to do all the technical and hard skills, so we're also going to train, bring in leadership trainers, how to network, that soft skills part. And of course, we'll go into partnership with some other service provider to provide you discounted offers on other deals. You see this beautiful framework here, one person cannot drive it. And for us to deliver excellently, we've been able to bring together a team that can each take their own path and run to deliver excellently on all we've committed to do for our learners that sign up for our program. So meet the team. I will introduce the team, my very humble self. I'm the lead coach, driving this vision. I would lead the business analysis. For now, I'm the program lead for the business analysis. I hope that will change soon. But until I get capable hands that will take that fully off me, I will still lead that program. We have Jonathan Ifechukwu. I think he might be here or he'll be joining us soon. He will be the program lead for the project management training. He's very experienced. I also have Masha South. She's the program lead for the organizational change management. She's the senior organizational change management lead with SOBIS currently. So she'll be leading the OCM training. We're not starting the OCM training this September. That would kick off in January of 2023. We have Coach Olufunke Dina. Oh my goodness, this lady is amazing. So as part of what we've also realized is that we need to prompt people, we need to remind people to review the lessons, to review their learnings, not just come to class on Saturday. After the class, they wrap up their book and then come the next week. So Coach Funke will be driving weekly review, what we've learned. The team will come together, not on Zoom, it could just be WhatsApp, let's review, put out questions and people will respond randomly just to test their knowledge. There'll be affirmations, there'll be reminders to turn in assignments and all of that. So Coach Funke will be leading that, all of that. And we have Peace. She would also be the program admin managing class activities and student inquiries for the business analysis program. We have Justina. She'll be the program admin for the project management program. So she'll be your go-to person for issues if you are in the project management cohort. We also have Francine. She would also be supporting the business analysis program delivery. And of course, we have Tracy. Tracy is coming on board to help you get ready to hit the ground running immediately after your training. She's going to be sharing lots of things. We are humbled, we are honored to have her as part of our team. I would quickly introduce her just ahead before handing over to her to start the presentation this evening. So she's a product marketing manager. She's based in British Columbia. She's a tech communication professional with over 10 years working experience with multicultural teams. So Tracy has had the experience of living in different continents, moving, going to school, having kids, and she's been able to pivot and succeed in her professional life. And right now, what she does at Visible at Work is to help other immigrants. You don't have to do the menial jobs, and you don't have to always start from the bottom of the ladder. You can leverage your experiences, to be the best person you can be and to really, demonstrate value, create value for organizations. She'll be sharing a bit of that, and she's on board with us for the our September delivery. And I'm so excited for our learners. This is the first time we will do this. I'm so excited, and I hope you are. We have upcoming programs. We have the free project management practicum training starting September 3rd. It's going to run for 2 weeks. My team members will share the link on Zoom. If you've not joined, please feel free to register to join. We have the business analysis practicum starting September 3rd. If you have any questions regarding the brief presentation I showed, please send us emails at info@pollardconsult.com and we'll be happy to respond to your inquiries.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to share my screen now, and then we will start. I will make it as brief as possible. So my promise to you today is that we're going to learn together on how I can open your eyes to see the difference between what career growth looks like in Canada versus your home country. I mainly work with people that are in North America, so Canada, United States, but we know that like the program that we're hosting here would be based in Canada, but you can join virtually from anywhere in the world. But I want to be able to shift your mindset today with how career growth works in your home country versus North America. I'll also share real life experiences with you on my 3-step framework that you'll be learning today. No theory or proof, that and how it has worked with everyone. And I'm going to be partnering with Pollard Consults for this business analysis and project management today to show you that when you join the cohort for your job search strategy and how to really market your skills, there's a different art and a science to it. After you know the theory and the practical of building a project, of working on a project. There's so many other nuances to it. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So how will I share that? I'm going to share real life examples of how my three-step framework can help you today. No theory or proof. So I'm going to be talking about what you're going to learn today and how to decipher the North American system. Again, I talked about how I work mostly with people in North America and how you can decipher the system. But I'm also going to be sharing with you actions you need to take to fast track your first and your next role in Canada. And then we'll also break down how to play bigger and negotiate higher. Then lastly, I'll talk about like the secret sauce to shut down the lies you told yourself. So this is a picture of me when I moved to Canada. Like I had moved different countries. I like to share this picture just so you can also envision to know that sometimes where your reality is right now is totally different from like what you envision for yourself or how you want your career to be. So of course, with a baby this size, I couldn't go out, couldn't network, couldn't go for interviews as much, of course, before COVID happened. But just to show you that we all have what we have in mind or what we want to do about our careers, especially like if you move to a different country and things look so different from what you're used to back home. And I like to share this picture because it's so relatable, especially to a lot of mothers, where you feel like, okay, I think I've come at a certain point in my career and it's like, okay, now I'm taking care of the home front. Can I really get back into the game? Can I really still apply like some of the techniques that Oge has shared or Oge keeps talking about, like how you can transform your transferable skills in business analysis and project management? So I was at this point, the day I took this picture, I decided that I was going to look inwards with what I already had. And why should you listen to me? So I think Oge has already said a little bit about like my background and my experience, and I just put this just for context. So I already had varied marketing background, over 10 years, working for global brands, being an adjunct tutor, being a speaker and a writer, having a podcast, and then moving countries, and also like a Pollock scholar as well, and now also working in tech. So what I'm sharing today is both based on research that I have done and based on my past work experience as well, and also working with very different clients too. And that's why I'm passionate about, like helping foreign trade professionals to stop struggling in their careers and start being in control of what your career will look like without wasting time over analyzing or waiting for the perfect time after you move abroad. And let's get into how to decipher the North American system. So I know a lot of us, we've gotten some additional degrees, or we plan on getting additional degrees. It's one thing to get an additional degree, but that is not going to help you market your skill. I'm not against getting an additional degree. Once you get that additional degree, the next step is to zero in on your strong skill sets. So I've gotten this degree, or I got an MBA. An MBA is more generalist. What out of that MBA and plus my past work experience, what are the strong skill sets that I have? What are the things that come naturally to me? How am I able to break down projects or problems? How am I able to solve problems at work? How was I able to do that back home in my country before I went back to school to go get an additional degree? That is what the North American system wants to see here in Canada and in the US. Thirdly, specialization trumps generalization any day. Now, to give you more context, generalization means like even in the medicine profession, where you say I'm a medical doctor or you're a general practitioner. So a general practitioner is like a family doctor, where if you have maybe a headache or something's going on, you go to see your family doctor, and then they prescribe maybe the medication you need. Then they send you to a specialist. So maybe if you need to see a doctor for your ear, nose, and throat, they send you to an ENT specialist. If you need to see an orthodontist, they send you to an orthodontist. If you need to see a neurologist, they send you to a neurologist. Those are specialists. A generalist, they do a little bit of everything. And back home in your home country, most countries, you have to know a little bit of everything. If maybe you work in a bank, you have to be able to do plus sales, plus customer support, plus, so many other things. But here, specialization is what gets you the job. It's what gets you the interviews. It's what gets your phone to ring. So once a lot of you sign up today for the business analysis or project management course, you have to go back to look at your past experience and decide the type of jobs you want to go after. not just general project management roles or openings you see online, not just general business analyst roles or openings that you see online. So you can narrow down either going through your industry. So maybe you've always been in telecoms back home, you worked at MTN, you worked at Airtel, you worked at Etisalat, but now you now gain business analysis. So you probably have better understanding of the telecoms industry. Although it's in a different country, you're more likely to get callbacks when you narrow down into specializing your business analysis or project management around that ecosystem, either around that industry in telecoms or around maybe wireless technology. That's what I mean by specialization trumping generalization any day. So this is how you can decipher the North American system. Now let's get into how to fast track your first or your next role. So you hear people say you need to create a personal brand. You need to create a personal brand. You need to create a social presence online. It's so important. But you for one, or maybe some of us here, you just like to go on Instagram to just crack jokes, watch skits, see what people are doing, see what people are up to, and then maybe you just hide your profile. That's what you use social media for. In this part of the world, they use social media to check you out, to check your skills, to check your expertise, to check that what you said you can do, you can actually do it. And one of the biggest social media platforms for working professionals is LinkedIn. That is where you have more people checking your professional experience, checking what you can do, checking your background to see. They're not going to call your company back home that you worked with to know if you could do the job or not. And that's just the truth. So the onus lies on you to be able to build that social presence so that if they type your name to find something, what exactly that relates to your work experience, what can they find? Now, for people that are going to be joining the program, once you join any of the projects, I will be working personally with you, coming on board to work with you to build this personal brand online, especially LinkedIn and even other social platforms. So when you type your name, what is the first thing that comes up? So I want us to do an exercise now, very short exercise. Just Google your name, type your first and last name, and then tell me what comes up. What social platform comes up? Tell me in the chat. Just type in the chat and tell me, what did you see? What came up for you when you Googled your name? Okay, Instagram. Neka said Instagram. Instagram came up. Okay. Yes, Facebook. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. LinkedIn, Gutson. Okay, LinkedIn came up first. Instagram first, then LinkedIn next. LinkedIn. That's awesome. LinkedIn. Okay, now we're seeing more LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Okay. So there is a reason why that comes up first. It didn't happen by accident. Okay, LinkedIn ResearchGate. Maybe you're probably doing a lot of research, or maybe you're you do a lot of academic research. So maybe that's why LinkedIn research came up for you, Rosemary. Facebook and LinkedIn. Oh, Twitter for Blessing. Okay. So maybe you're very active on Twitter. That's probably why. So this is to tell you that we cannot erase our digital footprint from whatever we do online. And that's why I always tell people the internet never forgets. So you might be arguing with somebody as a keypad warrior, or someone posted something, or one gossip blog posted something, and it didn't sit well with you, and you must have been, you just went off in the comments. I'm not saying you shouldn't be yourself, you shouldn't chat online, but I'm just trying to tell you or show you that whenever you put anything out there, it will always come back to you. So from your IP address, from your name, from your content, whatever content you share. So why not as well just use it to your own advantage, to get you jobs, to get you opportunities, to get you talking with the right people that can get you your next offer, your next role. That is what I mean by creating a personal brand and social presence. And that's why it is a necessity. So when you join the program, when you join the September cohort, I'm going to be working with you to see how you can edit what you already have. So when I say edit, I don't mean to lie. I mean to take the experiences that you have, plus the project that Oge is going to be working with you. Oge and her team, they're going to be working with you to build, and let that be everywhere. So once the recruiters or anybody looking for you, or even anybody wanting to do business with you, once they type your name, That is what comes up about you. Now, let me tell you a secret. Maybe you don't know. Microsoft bought LinkedIn a few years ago. So LinkedIn is actually owned by Microsoft, and there are over 850 million people, users on LinkedIn, and there may be about 30 million users, like 30 million content creators. So people that constantly create content, constantly put out content on LinkedIn. You see the fraction, 30 million active compared to 850 million users. So that means you don't need to do too much. You don't need to dance. You don't need to do all of that. I will show you how you can use content to attract people to understand how you think, how you reason, how you talk about projects, which you can do through your personal brand. So that's what I mean, using it to fast track your first or your next role. Next step is, okay, Blessing said I cleaned up my social media. Okay, so that's probably why Twitter came up for you. But Twitter is very good, especially like for people in the engineering space. They get a lot of roles, interviews, and things like that from Twitter. So I'm not so keen on you have to use one platform. My take is whichever one you decide to go all in, just make sure that once people come on that platform, they can immediately know what you do. Once they see your social media, they immediately know that, okay, this is what this person is about. Okay, this is what this person does. Okay, maybe if I want to hire this person for this project, maybe I can fit this person in this position, or I can get them to do this project for me. So that's how you can use social media to build that personal brand for yourself. Secondly, when you build that personal brand, you're able to articulate your value without thinking twice. How does that happen? Because you've been able to clean up your social media, because you've been able to be more direct with what you do. Once someone goes, they check you out, they see your past work experience, they see some of the projects you talk about, and then they finally get on the phone to talk to you. It's a lot easier picking up the conversation from there. Okay, you said you do designing, or you do UX design, or you do business process analysis, and you were able to work on this project. Okay, so tell me about like how you were able to analyze this project. Can you give me an example of when you analyzed a business that was in the mature stage, like maturity of a business? How were you able to analyze that? And then you just kick off that conversation. Now compare that to somebody just getting your resume and say, okay, so tell me about your experience. Do you see how different those two conversations will go? The person that is more direct and the person that is more that starts off from the projects you've done. The person that is asking you, tell me about your past experience, tell me about yourself, you're going to have to educate the person from way back. Oh, I used to work in this country, I used to work on this, and this is what I used to do, compared to if you're talking about the project, and then you can give examples of those past projects, and then they can now talk about the project that they are working on that might be of interest to you. So I'm going to change my slide to the next slide. I actually minimized it just so I could see what everybody was saying. Okay, yeah. So another way you can fast track your first or next role is once you know what you talk about, you keep them coming for more, because now they want to know more about you. With what they know about you, they've seen something online. Then they want to know, is this person real? Did this person really do this project? Did this person really work on this thing? Can this person actually solve the problem I have? Because trust me, every business has a problem, and that's why they're bringing you on board, to solve that problem. They're not hiring you because they pity you. They're not hiring because they just feel like filling a slot. Especially here, they have a problem. They need to solve that problem, and they need you to show that you can solve that problem. So which is why I said articulating your value first. And then now you keep them coming for more, because now they know something about you and they want to be able to confirm if that is true. Now, the next phase is navigating cultural differences. I know, like, for a lot of us that moved as adults, you didn't have to do that back home in your home country. You didn't have to navigate cultural differences. Maybe to a little extent, maybe by people from different tribes, knowing other tribes, but like in-depth cultural differences where they don't really know what you do on your continent. They don't even understand that, like, that's the level of business acumen that you have, or the level of projects you've worked on is about a par with the kind of projects that they work on here. So you might have to deal with that. You might have to deal with the office politics. You might have to deal with the microaggression. Microaggression is when like somebody is trying to tell you something, or they downplay your abilities, or they make it sound like maybe your name is too hard to pronounce. And then there's outright racism, where they make it like, some people just make it clear that, oh, I don't work with black people. I've never worked with a black person. I've never had somebody in with your type of experience that comes from your type of place that looks like you to lead that type of position. So that could also play a huge factor in your career success, because we're all human beings, and if you've encountered maybe people like that, it can take a chip at your confidence, and you begin to doubt yourself and say, can I really do the job? Instead of you now talking about your skill sets, you're now wondering, okay, is everything okay with me? Like, am I sure I can do the job? And that's why we address some of these issues too, with personal branding and networking and doing your job search strategy. So let's move to the next slide. Let me see if I can pull it up. So maybe I'll just open that up. Okay, so now I want us to shut down the 3 lies. You see, this slide, I try to make it really fast so that we can talk, because I want people to ask questions today. So what are the 3 lies that keep you foreign professionals stuck, and why it keeps you stuck? Now, a lot of the lies people tell themselves. Lie 1, the devil you know is better than the angel you don't know. So I've been working on this job for this time. People are saying that I need to move into project management, or my past experience in banking, or as a safety manager, I can still do that in project management. And you're like, are you sure I can do that? Is it the same type of thing? I can't sell that same experience. And a lot of us have those lies, and specifically those top 3 lies. That's what I want us to shut down today. Focus on what you have control over. There are certain things that you don't have control over, unfortunately. But what do you have control over? You have control over selling your skill set. You have control over building a narrative about the skill sets that you have. You have control over telling them that I'm going to spend time to research the type of companies that I want to work with that align with my values. And I'm going to teach you how to do this. So it's not all gimmicks. It's not all, kumbaya. I'm going to show you how you can do this using LinkedIn, using other platforms, other job platforms to be able to research and narrow down the companies you want to work with that align with the values that you've had, especially when you look back on your past experience. And then we're also going to look at how to notice the red flags, your non-negotiables. What are the things that you want? For some people, money might be more important. For some people, flexibility and time might be more important. So we're going to ask these hard questions, and then we're going to draw up what our non-negotiables are. So lie number 2. What's the lie number 2 you always tell yourself as a foreign trained professional? Oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. I've never had to search for a job like this. Now, since I moved, I have to start looking for a job in Canada or the US. In my home country, my former supervisor will just call me when they move to a different place, and then I interview, or I just send 1 resume, and then I get calls, and I get 3 offers, then I have to decide. Most people that have the experience that they have, or that even join this kind of programs that we create, they already have good, solid experience. And sometimes when you send out 50, 100, 200 resumes, you can begin to question yourself and say, okay, so where do I start from now? I've sent out 50, I've sent out 100, I've not heard anything. So I want you to be able to squash that lie today. Every location is different. And the fact that you move, that is a big change in itself. So there are going to be some changes. So don't try to overwhelm yourself. You've already done the biggest step, which is moving, or which is you making plans to move. If you're still in that phase of trying to move, you've learned about the location, you've probably adjusted to the code, you've probably learned new things about the system. Now, what we're going to do in this program, we're going to teach you how the system works when it comes to careers, and why you should not let that fear keep you from moving forward. Why do you want to let it keep you from moving forward? You've already been moving forward anyways. You moved, you got on a plane, you got a one-way ticket, you got used to the weather, you got used to freezing your tomatoes and doing things differently than what you do back home. So why do you not want fear to stop you or freeze you from making that jump into a career that can earn you more money and give you more flexibility and more time? So now, lie number 3, I don't have time. Looking for a better job is a full-time job. Everybody says that it's a full-time job. So what if time wasn't the issue? But what you really needed was a clear-cut path that showed you exactly what you should be doing each day with an existing routine. If you had that, then would you say, I don't have time? I'm sure you wouldn't say you don't have time anymore. What you really want is that you really want to know, what exactly should I be doing? Like, how many job boards should I have open? Am I supposed to be looking at this job board? Okay, when I open this job board and I create a profile, what exactly am I supposed to be doing? If I go on LinkedIn, am I supposed to be pressing only easy apply, easy apply? What is my routine? That is what we're going to tackle. That you have to squash this lie that it is a full-time job. It's all about having a routine and having a clear path, which we will give you, and then you can stick to that path. So that way you apply less, you're more specific, and you land interview opportunities easily. So if this sounds like you've been thinking about it, you're not alone. But the truth is, you shouldn't stay here for too long. You need to shake off those lies and start taking strategic action. So now, lastly, I want us to jump into negotiating bigger and and playing higher. How to negotiate bigger and play higher. Now, this is a research. It's called Bloom's Taxonomy. So Bloom's Taxonomy is a research about cognitive learning. It was created in 1956 and it was updated in the year 2000, and it was used in planning teaching materials for pedagogy and learning, and how people retain information. For you to be able to negotiate higher, it's not really about what you learned in school or what you just learned. Like when you did the program, now I know all the theories, all the basics of business analysis, or I know everything about project management, I know how to use all these tools. That is the lowest pyramid. That's remembering. You just know the relevant information, you know, like how to have long-term memory. The next level is understanding. When you understand how to make sense of what you've learned. I know it's going to take time to go through the theoretical aspect and then the practical aspect. So how do you understand it? Then how do you apply that knowledge? That's what is going to get you to negotiate higher. How do you apply the knowledge that you've gained? How do you apply it in different ways? So what I'm going to do with you is to look at your past experience you've done, and then the business analysis and project management that you're going to learn. How do you apply the knowledge of what you've learned before? And how do you apply business analysis and project management to your past experience, plus the new experience that you want to look for? That's what we're going to do. The next phase is analyzing those experiences. So you're going to break whatever concept you learn with business analysis and then analyze it onto how those parts fit into your past experience. How do I analyze it in the sense that it fits into what I've been doing for a long time? It fits into how I help that customer and I improve the processes in the bank. Even though like my target was 150 million, but I was able to improve some processes. So you're not just focusing on one area of what your job description was doing back home. Then we're also going to use what you've learned to evaluate. So how do you make sound judgment based on guidelines? Like now you're now entering into a new industry. How do I evaluate to see that my strong skill sets can fit into this new industry in this new country? And then the last phase is creating, which is what Oge is going to help you do. You're going to work on a live project. You're going to create that project, and then I'll show you how you can create a live portfolio of that project, so that when you're interviewing or you're talking about projects you've done, that will be one of the things that you're going to mention, that you're creating and you're putting information together. But you're not just piecing information together, you're doing it in an innovative way. So maybe other people do it in a certain way, other companies do it in a certain way, but because of your past experience and your background, you know that, okay, you're going to add some innovation to it and do it slightly different from what you see everyone doing here within that industry. That's how you now negotiate higher, by weaving in your past experience into using Bloom's taxonomy to remember everything you've learned, get into the next phase, which is the top of the pyramid, to create a solid project for yourself, to create examples for yourself. So I'll just quickly wrap up with my 3-step framework, with which this job search strategy is going to work when you join the program. So I work basically with your communication skills on how to communicate your story, your leadership skills on how to show that you're ready for leadership position, even though maybe you've never had Canadian experience, or you're still trying to build on that, or maybe you were doing something before now you change it into business analysis. And then lastly, the most important, when you hear recruiters say, oh, this person doesn't have Canadian experience, it just means that you don't have the people skills to be able to understand the people in this country and how they work, or when they give you feedback, or when they tell you something, so you don't take it literally, or how you take it so that you can get results from that. My framework for the job search strategy. Okay. Yes, so I put this is a picture of Times Square in the US. I just use it as a representation of what we think about when we say, okay, we're finally here, we've made the move. Like, I want my bank account to match this move that I've made, because you also want to have a successful career without giving up your dreams of getting into your industry or thriving in a new one, even if you've been told it's not possible. I've been told before, I need to go and read nursing. Nursing is the way. People have said, oh, you need to do this, or you need to start from the bottom. No, you don't necessarily have to. And even if you've done that before, there's a way you can marry all those experiences to get opportunities in the next level for your career. So the first framework for communication, what are we communicating? What are we talking about? It's not about, when I say communicating, I'm not talking about speaking English. I'm not talking about speaking English, because a lot of us, English is our first language. But what we're communicating here is your journey and your story. What about your journey should interest people? What is it about your journey? How far you've come when you look at what you've done in the past? I'm going to help you tie in those stories. You're going to create your elevator pitch to be able to tie in that journey. Because it's one thing to say, okay, I've gotten this new certification, but if the recruiter here, or you're talking to anybody here, you want them to hire you, they can't see the connection with what you've done in the past. And they're just saying, okay, you want to do this. They just feel that, okay, maybe because project management is the hottest thing right now, that's why this person is in project management. And then it's hard for them to reconcile why they should put you in that sensitive position to be able to join their company. So this is very necessary, like for you to be able to link that Canadian experience to what you've done before. It is communicating your journey and communicating your story. So your journey is different from your story. Your journey is maybe from the first job you had, you probably came across some concepts of business analysis, but you didn't know it was business analysis. Or your journey in the sense that you've always been in one industry, even though you've worked at different places over time. And then what is your story? So the skill sets that you have picked along the way that can now help you to negotiate higher in this new pathway, in this new country. That's what I mean by communicating in terms of using the CLP framework. Next, we'll look at leadership. So being comfortable with having difficult conversations. A lot of us, we've been brought up to avoid conflict. You cannot look your elders in the face. You can't talk to people that are older than you. You can't disagree with leadership. If your boss says this is how it has to be, then this is how it has to be. We've been used to it. We've been conditioned to it over time. And now when you come into an environment where they actually expect healthy conflict, it's hard for you to show that you have leadership skills. Even if you say, I have 20 years experience, but you're not comfortable having difficult conversations. If I was to ask anyone here, what was something that your former boss said about you that you didn't like or you did not agree with? Can you think of something? Or will it be a lot harder for you to come up with an answer? That's how you know that you're comfortable having difficult conversations. So that's leadership. That's the leadership piece. That's how you can start to command and attract senior roles and not just entry-level roles. Because even if you put, they don't care here about 20 years or 15 years experience. What they care here is within those 15 or 20 years, what have you done that shows that you can easily fit into or blend into a team that people with similar experiences can work with you, even though you came from a different country. Secondly, creating that feedback loop. You might end up working with people that never gave you feedback. They always told you, oh, good job, good job. Like, good job is feedback, but it's not great feedback. So I'll teach you how to develop or request great feedback. If someone tells you, well done, what does well done mean? Well done is not really telling me what I did well or what I did not do well. So you need to be able to learn this in working in North America, to be able to create a feedback loop where when someone tells you well done or when someone tells you good job, you're able to ask them more questions, deeper questions, so that you can understand what it is good about the good job, so that you can do more of that. You can double down on that, or you need to cut back on some things. If they say, okay, maybe you wasted more time in the, in the presentation, I wish you had focused on the numbers, that is feedback. So now the person is saying, okay, focus on the numbers, than the person just telling you, oh, good job, good presentation. And then lastly, you need to be able to have career dialogues beyond formal reviews. A lot of us back home, we only do formal review at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. So we wait until our manager gives us a review, then we fill a form, and then we review the manager, then we submit it to HR, and then the manager also reviews us. But here it works the other way. They're always reviewing you even before your formal appraisal or formal review. So how do you have those career dialogues? How do you start talking about it? How do you you bring up the conversation? Sometimes in this part of the world, especially if maybe you're the only Black person on the team, or the only woman, or the only Muslim, or the youngest person or the oldest person, some managers or some people that you work with, they might not initiate that type of review because maybe they don't want to say something that will upset you. But you need the review so that you can do better on your job. So we'll teach you how to start having those dialogues so that even if they don't start having those conversations with you, you can begin those conversations yourself, so you can get what you need to start working and to start improving on the job. So the last part of the CLP framework is the people skills. So a lot of people think about people skills or Canadian experience with only their bosses. You only think about the people you work with, like below. So maybe like the manager or management who you work, who works above you, and how you can relate with them, and so that they notice your work that you're doing, so they can call you up for promotion. In this part of the world, the way I work with my clients, I look at the 4 ways of the people skills. So if we move to the next slide, we'll see the people skills for the CLP framework. I look at building people skills with your bosses or your team leaders, building people skills with your co-workers, so people that you work with, building people skills with senior leadership, vice presidents, directors, senior VP, other people in management positions that they may not understand your day-to-day job or what you do. They just see you around the office, or they just see your name on Slack, or they just see your name on email. But how do you build those relationships so they know exactly what you're doing? And then lastly, the last part of the people skills is building people skills with customers. I know a lot of people are they push back on this, because especially when I talk to people, they say, Tracy, please, I'm not in sales. How am I supposed to build these people skills with customers? There is a way to build people skills with customers, either directly or indirectly. So especially if you're working on a project in terms of project management or business analysis, and you're analyzing a problem or a process, if one of those problems or bottlenecks that you're dealing with came from a review from a customer, and you're trying to improve on that process, you as a good business analyst, you need to go back into the notes, go back into the research, or talk to somebody on your sales team to find out, what did the customers say? Have they been able to reach out to those customers? Have they been able to get feedback? What is the new process now? Do they enjoy the new process? Is it better for them? Does it work better for them? Is it helping the business save money? Those are the kind of questions you need to ask for your own peace of mind. So you also know that, okay, the tool I worked on, or the project I worked on, actually had some closure, or actually brought some success. So you're not just going to sit back and fold your arms and say, well, there's really no, I'm not in sales, so that's not my problem. It is part of helping you get good career growth, and that's why I brought it up. So what happens when you follow these 3 framework? We talked about career growth. The next slide mentions what happens when you follow these 3 framework. You now become a magnet for opportunities, because people want to work with people that they understand their story, they understand their journey. You don't have to tell them your life story. We're just focused on your career and your career journey. People also want to now work with you in terms of being a better leader, even if you might not have manager to your title or director to your title, because they know you're comfortable enough having difficult conversations. You continue the feedback loop. They have a better understanding of how to work with you. You understand people's work styles. And I want you to know this, like, even when you know this framework and you're working, people may not like you. They might just not like you. That's not your problem. But they want to be associated with you, in the sense of, if they know that if I give you the job to be done, the job's to be done. If I give this person the job to be done, that person will do the job. I may not like them. I may not like their face. That's not your problem. That's their own headache. No problem. But they would like working with you. They would like your story. And then what happens? Your phone starts ringing, your name is put forward, and you're confident enough to ask for more opportunities. And then I'll end you with this. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it is simple and it's possible. But you know why most people won't do it? Like all these things I've talked about in terms of the CLP framework. But I know the people here, you stayed on, and I'm so happy that you stayed on, and I'm glad that I was able to share. Most human beings like to complicate things because we're afraid. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of looking or sounding stupid. This is my first BA job, or this is my first project management job in Canada. Please, I don't want them to think that I'm asking too much questions. No, you're not asking too much questions if you ask the right questions. And that's what the job search strategy will teach you about. And also what I do in my program, like when you join Oge's program, then you're able to work with me, and I'm able to help you get into your role faster and thrive in that role. So I hope you really enjoyed this session with me. If you want to talk to me, you want me to work on your job search strategy, join this program. The next slide has my details. You can find me on LinkedIn. Join this program, and then I'll work with you. You'll see me as many times as possible. I'll be working with you on your job search strategy. You find me on social, on LinkedIn, my first and last name, Tracy Oyekomi. On Instagram, Career Success Abroad. You find me there. And then we can jam about like how to tackle interviews and start getting ready for the next phase of getting that certification, but also applying it and getting top-notch roles so that you don't have to beg for roles. Instead, you begin to attract those opportunities. Please drop me a line in the chat if you enjoyed the session. If there was one thing you learned today about the session, what was most insightful for you? I would love to see your comments. I'm reading the chat right now, and then we can dive into questions very quickly.
Excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for staying put. Thank you so much. So I'm going to practice what I said we should do, feedback loop. So I know I got good job, amazing session. What was amazing about the session? What was excellent about the session? What was mind-blowing for you? What opened your eyes up to say, okay, this Canada job worker, what really struck you in terms of the session and what we're talking about today?
Can I go?
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. My name is Laulu. Yeah. One thing that stood out for me was the Bloom's taxonomy that you actually brought to play in your presentation. I'm actually very familiar with it, and it's something that I've used in the past. And the fact that you are bringing it to play to actually help in, let me use the word, climbing the ladder of being a business analyst in this part of the world really stood out for me, because it was like, oh, so I've used this thing before and you are using it here. That means it's so dynamic. We can use our past knowledge even where we are right now. The main thing is knowing the right place and the right time to use it, and therefore we'll get what we need. So for me, it stood out for me, and it actually boosted my confidence tonight that the sky is just the beginning for me to get what I need to get. Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome. I'm so grateful, and I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you very much. I think, okay, Blessing said it reinforced the people skills loop and its importance. Thank you. Shakira, the presentation was coherent and concise. Thank you very much. Emiola, nice presentation. I'd like to personalize my marine engineering experience for marine project management. Awesome. You're already specializing. I love that. I've also worked with a marine, it was actually a marine engineer and safety operations in Calgary. I had a client I worked with in marine engineering. So that's pretty interesting. I like how you've also narrowed down, like that's the only way you get your phone ringing when you specialize, not generalize. Kelechi, you have your hand up. You want to say something?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. It was really insightful, and I actually gained a lot. I've been looking forward to this meeting, and some things really struck me. One of them is you talking about specialization and having your past job, fusing it to what you were doing, and applying to things that actually is involved in it. Because what I had to learn is it's not about applying like 50 places. I see it as specializing in, okay, for example, I was in banking for so many years. So most times what really baffles me in this BA, what get me thinking at times is, oh, is it at times when I see the job role, you see one IT stuff, you see one engineering, public health. I say, wow, how can I fit in? But actually, what you've said now is it's not just applying, specializing in the things you are applying. I'm in banking, I'm in finance. So I can actually specialize in finance, go for the job roles that concerns finance, and I'll get the interview rolling. So actually, it actually helped me. And also the second thing that I took home today is using my social media space, because I had to go back to my LinkedIn. I have to check, oh, if they call up my name, what's the first thing you see? So I think I need to do some adjustments like that. So thank you very much.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that. This is wonderful. Okay, you have your hand up.
Can I say something, Kelechi? So part of what we do for our students, which Tracy will help me drive more in the next cohort, after every class, you learn something. Can you articulate what you've learned and post it on social media? That way, you are growing your personal brand. You are telling recruiters, hiring managers, this is what I'm preparing for. This is who I am now. This is all the experience I'm acquiring now. And it's that easy. So after every class, what did you learn today? Oh, you learned how to map a process. What is a business process? Or you could even simulate one, because you have lots of case study in classes during your project. Take a screenshot. It's not any confidential information. There are case studies, right? And post it online and talk about it, your experience mapping that process. And when a recruiter is checking you out, they see all what you've done. So
Yeah.
it's a day at a time. You don't wait until after the whole training and now begin to post this. It's one day at a time. That is how you build it.
Yeah. They call it building in public. So as you're going through the experience, you're building in public. A lot of us back home, we say, oh, we don't want to jinx it. So until I collect my certificate, please, I don't want people to know. I beg, I need to come out to my certificate before I tell people that I've gotten this experience. But here, when you do that, it's as if you've missed the bus. Because by the time you've graduated and they are telling people, I now have this certification, people just know the certification. They don't really know what you've done. So as you share your journey, you share your story, which I'm going to be taking the LinkedIn class and how to revamp LinkedIn. If you don't get anybody on this call, if you don't get at least one recruiter reaching out to you once a month, then you need to edit, you need to optimize your LinkedIn. That one is for sure. So make sure you join the program. If you're in this program, you're joining September, you're going to see my face. Don't worry. And for LinkedIn, we're going to revamp your LinkedIn and optimize your LinkedIn. Yeah. Ola, you have your hand up.
Oh, okay. So you're asking for feedback relating to the session, and one of the things that struck me was really like the feedback loop and having those difficult conversations. Keeping the communication line open between yourself and your people leader is very important. One thing I found, like, review, make sure it is documented as well, because a lot of times you find out that when for that yearly review, then you're scrambling to find what to fill in. But if you, as people call it, like a brag book, when you have that feedback documented, even if it's not good, right, it reminds you of what you need to improve on, and obviously help you grow in your career. So that was it from me.
Thank you for contributing. Yes, Ola. And you know, one of the most common interview questions that come up, oh, what's your weakness? What's your weakness? What's your number one weakness? It comes from feedback. It comes from being self-aware to know that, okay, some of my managers have said this about me. Then you can use that in an interview. But if you don't keep tabs, if you don't keep a note or keep a list, then you wouldn't know some of the things that they said about you, and some of the things you've even worked on and you've outgrown and you're even doing way better. But because you're not keeping track, then you wouldn't know. Yeah, so that's a very good point. Winifred, thank you for an amazing session. Oh yeah, this is an amazing session. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to, like, everybody that has contributed here, said one thing or the other, added in the chats, emojis and comments. I'm very excited, and I'm looking forward to really seeing you in the September cohort so that we can zhuzh up your resume, LinkedIn. I call it career material. So everything that concerns your career, that's what contributes to career growth here, because you don't have experience. It's just like, I won't say you don't have experience. It's just like saying, like when you go to the bank or get a house and they're looking for your credit history because you moved to this new country. Although you have good credit, it should be most of the things we buy back home, we pay upfront in cash, 100%. They don't even give us credit. So if you move here, they don't know all that one that you used to buy things cash up from, because why? They don't have history of your credit. So it's the same thing with your career. They don't have history of your career credit. So you need to be able to build that up in terms of using social media to build a personal brand, building your career materials, showing projects, linking your past experience to show that you can actually do the job. So I'm excited.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you very much. And like I said, this is just a tip of the iceberg. And Tracy has her own program where she runs and delivers this thing end to end. So if you sign up for our program, you also get to get a discount to do her full end-to-end program, right? Most of the things she has shared here. But of course, all the things that gets you ready and launch your career, she's going to help you do that on the business analysis and the project management training. We are starting September 3rd, and we have the first 2 weeks free, so you can join and sample the program. Does it work out for you? Then for all those that have stayed till the end this evening, if you send an email to info@pollardconsult.com this evening, you might be getting a discount to join the program if you think you like what you see. And then I love that Bloom's taxonomy. Oh my goodness. Like, if some of you that joined earlier and saw the Pelt framework that we use to get our students ready, so under the equip is what we all do. We teach you, there are case studies, sample case study in class where you kind of apply your learnings. The hands-on project and the practicum itself, we call our program a practicum. I don't just call it the business analysis training or the project management training. We're not here to give you all the theory. We are here to just make sure we answer or demystify those ideas you have, teach you the real practices, the principles, and then you come demonstrate. When you are done demonstrating, as you are demonstrating, you are building your portfolio, which Tracy talked about. Those are the things she helps you put together to share with potential hiring managers and recruiters. So I'm so excited. This is the first time I'll be working with Tracy, and I know, oh my goodness, I'm just waiting for the testimony to start rolling in. Before we leave, I want to really thank all of you once again for being patient and staying to the end of this. And of course, Tracy, thank you so much for taking our time to put this together and come and share with. Even there are some people that won't sign up for this training. That is good. But of course, I know people have gone home with some very tangible information that will help them. For example, what Ola said about having difficult conversation, getting feedback. Some people are already in their business analysis career, but they will live with very, very cogent points that will help them. So thank you, Tracy. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all. So hope to see some of you, if not all of you, next week, Saturday. Yes, next week for the free classes. Yes.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Have a wonderful evening.